Okay, folks, here we go in Neuroshima Hex 3.0. Okay, now to set up, each player wants to take an army and their corresponding tokens. I have the Z-Man version, which comes with an additional army, the Doomsday Machine, and from my understanding, the Portal English edition does not come with that. They only come with the 4 base armies, which are the red Moloch army, the yellow Hegemony army, the green Outpost army, and the blue Borgo army. Now, each player wants to select one of these armies and take the 35 tokens that make up their deck. Okay, and the HQ token is different from the normal tokens, differentiated by this darker army symbol on the back of the HQ tile. Along with their deck, they also want to take the HQ token. Now, the game comes with these blank tokens that are just spare tokens in case one of your tokens gets messed up throughout the course of the game's life. And you only need one of these HQ tokens, the other one is just a spare. So each player will select one army. All the other armies will be returned to the box. They will not be used for the game. Now Jen will be playing with the Moloch army, and I will be playing with the Hegemony army. Each player wants to take their player board, flip it over to the side that describes what each army is. Okay, and they want to hold their HQ token separate off to the side for the moment, along with their HQ token, and then take their deck tiles, give them a shuffle, and place them face down in front of them. Next, we want to place the board out between the players where everybody can reach it. We're going to take our HQ token and put it on this track at the 20 spot. Okay, and the track wraps around one side of the board and then comes up around the other side of the board. This tracks the damage done to each player's HQ. We're then going to take our wound tokens here, put them in a pile where everybody can reach them, along with our net tokens here. Okay, now these dishes do not come with the game, I just use them to store the pieces. Okay, next we're going to select the first player. The publisher recommends that the owner of the game goes first. You can do this randomly if you choose to, it's up to you. The first player will then take their HQ token and place it in this inner grid here, depicted by these grayish outline here, and place their HQ somewhere on one of these tile spaces. Okay, you can arrange this in any fashion you want to, but it must align with the hex on the grid. Okay, this outer ring is used for a 5 and 6 player game. Okay, then the next player will do the same thing. They will take their HQ, choose which orientation they want to put it at, and place it on the board. You can even place your HQ next to an opponent's HQ if you choose to. But for this, we'll just pull him back here a little bit. And you are ready to play Neuroshima Hex. Neuroshima Hex is set in a post-apocalyptic world of Neuroshima, which is a Polish RPG role-playing game. Now, as the story goes, in 2020, computers destroyed the world. They released toxics across the lands. Different countries set off A-bombs. They shut down water purification plants and stuff like that, bringing humanity down to its knees. 30 years later, people are struggling, just hanging on with dear life. And certain factions form. Now humanity is fighting against machines trying to survive. Now, before I get into how to play the game and all that, let's discuss the tiles a little bit so you have a better understanding of what they do. There's 2 different types of tiles in the game. First, we have these guys here, which are instant tiles. Okay, the most common ones are battle tiles, pushback tiles, and move tiles. Okay, and then each army has their own unique instant tiles. These guys here are one-shot deal. They're showed to the opponents and then discard it. And then whatever benefit that tile gives, you do. Then we have unit tiles, which are these module tiles, along with warrior tiles and army's HQ. Okay, module tiles are these gear symbols. Okay, and then they have like spokes that branch off. Any tile that is placed adjacent to one of these spokes will collect the benefit of that module tile. Okay, now the more common ones are these medics, scouts, and then officers, which come with both ranged and melee benefits, and we'll get into exactly how they work a little bit. Along with that, there are unique modules that come with the different armies. Next, we have the warrior tiles. Okay, they come in different types and do different things, but most of them will be able to do either the ranged ability or the melee ability. Now, there are a few that will be able to do both. Okay, like this guy here. Now, the ranged units have these shorter arrows that face away from them, and then any unit that is adjacent to it will be attacked by that melee ability. Okay, as long as it faces that side. Ranged units here can shoot in a straight line and hit the first target that is of the opposing side. Now, there are some units here that do not have range or melee. Okay, they simply have a netting ability. We'll get into exactly how the netting unit's done in a little bit. Or, in this case, he has armor, which will block a point of damage done by a ranged attack. Finally, we have the HQs here. Each HQ has a different special ability for each army's HQ. If we look here in that silver circle, that will tell you what the HQ special ability is. In the case of Moloch here, he has +1 strength to a unit adjacent to him that has range. So now, this army here would be able to do 2 points of damage with his range ability instead of just 1 point of damage. Okay, most units will only be able to take 1 point of damage unless it has this toughness symbol on it, this shield. For each one of those symbols, you will gain an additional life point. Okay, same with the ranged and attack abilities. For each symbol, whether it be melee or ranged, they will gain 1 more point of that attack. So this guy here will attack with 2 points of melee for any tile facing this side. That is one of the opposing tiles, obviously. As you've seen, there are some special abilities for tiles. They are in the gold circles. And then finally, we have these black circles with a number in it. That is the initiative. That is what is used during the battle phase of the game and determines which unit will attack first. Now, during the battle phase of the game, units of the same initiative attack simultaneously, and then you move on to the next initiative, and so on. Okay, so now let's go into how the game is played. In Neuroshima Hex, one player is trying to destroy the HQ of another player, or have the least amount of damage done to their HQ at the end of the game. Now, the first couple turns are a little different from the rest of the game. On the first turn, the first player will draw 1 tile from their deck and place it face up so everybody can see it. Okay, then they have 3 options they can use here. They can either choose to discard the tile, placing it face up in a discard pile. They can keep the tile, holding it off for another turn, or they can place the tile on the board. Okay, so we're going to place this guy here. Now, a player can place the tile in any one of these empty spaces within the main board here, dictated by this grayish-white outline there. Okay, and they can orient the tile that they place in any way they choose to. But once a tile is placed, under most circumstances, it cannot be moved or rearranged in the orientation of it. So this guy here has a range symbol on it, which will allow it to shoot an enemy tile. If there was an empty space between the unit and an enemy tile, it can still hit the enemy tile. And there is no friendly fire in the game, so if a friendly unit was adjacent to it, it would be able to attack it that way. Okay, now if a ranged unit is adjacent to an enemy tile, cannot do a melee attack. Certain tiles with armor block a ranged tile, so it could not do a melee attack on that tile. That will block it with armor. Now the second player will draw 2 tiles, and they have a choice. They can either discard it, keep them, or play them. Okay, and we're going to decide to play it. So we're going to play this guy here. And he's a little different. He has a range and a melee attack. So he can hit the base twice, once with a range attack, once with a melee attack. Okay, and then we have this guy here, who is a net fighter. I'll place him here next to the HQ, and what he does is net the tile that it's adjacent to, the side that has that net icon on it. Basically what a net does is disable the unit. Cannot fight, cannot attack, cannot use its special abilities, cannot move. The only thing it can do is be attacked. Now, net does not disable armor, so if there was a tile that had armor that was netted, and there was a tile next to it that had a ranged attack on it, it would not do damage to the tile that is netted because it has armor which blocks 1 point of damage. They were the first 2 turns. They work differently than the rest of the game. From this point on, the next player will draw 3 tiles. Okay. And then they will have to choose to discard one, usually the one that will do the least good for them. And then with the other 2, they can either use them, discard them, or save them. And they can use one and discard one, or save one and play one. It's up to them on what they want to do. This guy here drew 3 instant tiles, which are played. They're not placed on the board, they're just shown to the opponent and then discarded. Okay? But this is called an unlucky draw. If this ever happens, whether it be now that they draw 3 tiles or in the beginning of the game when you only draw 1 or 2 tiles, you can choose to discard all the tiles and then redraw the tiles. So this player's going to discard this tile, and he's going to choose to play this tile, which is a pushback tile. You would show it to the other player and then discard it. Okay, now the pushback tile will allow one tile to choose another tile and make that tile move away 1 space from that tile. Being that the net fighter was pushed away, the net no longer takes effect on the HQ. Now, if a pushback tile is used against a tile that is surrounded and has nowhere to move, there's no effect taken by the pushback tile. Now the player will choose to hold on to this battle token, which is one of 2 ways to initiate a battle, and we'll get into that in a few seconds. Now on the next turn that the red player gets here, he saved 1 tile, so he would draw 2 tiles to go up to 3. I don't know if I made that clear when I said draw 3 tiles. Okay, anytime you go to draw after the 3rd turn, you will draw up to 3 tiles. Okay, so now we're going to move on a little bit and we're going to show how a battle works. Okay, so we moved on a little bit. It's the red player's turn. They're going to draw 3 tiles like normal. Out of these 3 tiles, they're going to choose one and discard it as usual. Okay, we're going to choose this one to discard. Okay, now he has a battle tile, which will initiate a battle. If you use a battle tile to initiate a tile, you show it to your other players and then discard it. That is the last tile you can use that turn. Alright, so instead, red player is going to play this guy here, his net fighter. He's going to place it down like this. Okay, so what it'll do is disable this guy here. We'll place a net token on it. And it'll also disable this net guy here. Now, what happens then is, being that this netter was disabled by this netter, this net does not affect this tile. Okay, it's removed from the board. Okay, so this guy can now use his abilities again, and he can move around and stuff like that. Okay, so now the red player is going to say, I'm going to initiate a battle. Shows the tile, discards it. Okay, so now we go into the battle. You will start the battle by initiative number, indicated by this number in the black circle. Normally you would start at initiative 3, but this guy has a module connected to him by one of these spooks that gives him +1 initiative and +1 melee attack. Okay. However, his opponent does not gain the benefit of that module. Okay, they're only 2 friendly units. Alright, now as we can see here, he has a ranged and a melee attack. So he can do 2 points of damage, with one with the range, one with the melee, and then in actuality he could do 3 because he could do the melee twice due to this module. Alright, but as we can see here, this unit here has armor, that black border on the edge of it, in that direction. So that will absorb 1 point of damage. Right? Most units will be killed with 1 point of damage on the board, with the exception of this guy here, because of this toughness symbol, that shield. For each toughness symbol you have, you will gain 1 point of life. So this guy here and this guy here have 2 points of life. It takes 2 points to kill them. Okay, 2 hit points to kill. So this guy here's an initiative 4. He'll attack with this range. It'll be blocked by this armor. And then he will attack with the melee +1 because of this module and give 2 points of damage to this unit. And then we look, see if there's any more level 4 initiative tiles out there. There are not. We will clean up. Okay, so any units that were killed during that initiative are placed in the discard pile. Their hit tokens, the damage tokens, are placed back into the supply. You will only remove destroyed units or damage done to the base at the end of the initiative phase that you are in. Okay, so that was all of the number 4 initiatives. Now we'll go to number 3. Okay, this guy here has a number 3 initiative. He will hit the base 2 times. Once for the melee, once for the range. Then we have this guy here. He has initiative 3, but he was disabled by this netter here. Can't do anything. He can be attacked, but he can't attack or move or anything like that. That is all the level 3s. Technically, this guy was a level 4, so he doesn't go. Okay, so now we clean up. The Mohawk base got 2 points of damage. And then we'll remove all of the damage markers from him. Okay, so that was all the level 3s. Now we go to level 2. Okay, now this guy is level 2. There's nothing there for him to hit, so we'll skip him. Same with this guy. There's nothing for him to hit. This guy here will hit the base once and hit this guy once. So, whoop. We put a damage marker on the netter, and then we don't put it on him, we put it on the base. Alright? This clown unit here is a little different. The clown can choose to either attack or explode, damaging anything adjacent to it, including friendly units. Okay, he's going to choose not to do that. He's going to choose to attack, so he hits this guy for 1 point. Then he'll hit this guy here for 1 point. Finally, we have this guy here. He's a little different. He gets 2 attacks. Okay, 1 for initiative 2, 1 for initiative 1. Alright, so he'll attack the base, but being he's adjacent to the Mohawk HQ, he gets +1 strength in range attack, which he is, so he will hit the base for 2 points of damage. It's the end of initiative 2. We clean up. The base was hit 3 times for the hegemony here. This guy was destroyed, so the net will go back to the supply and he will be discarded. This guy was really destroyed. He was hit twice. Net goes away. He gets discarded. Now, a note on nets. If, say, this net guy was destroyed and he threw a net on this guy. If the netter was destroyed at the end of the initiative phase, then the net token would be removed from the token that he had netted at the end of the initiative phase. Okay, so he could not, this token could not still do his effect as soon as the netter was destroyed. It has to be at the end of the initiative phase. Okay, so that's the end of the 2s. Now we go to the 1s. This guy can attack again on initiative 1. It's next to the base. He gets +1 initiative or +1 strength to his ranged attack. We'll give 2 points of damage to the hegemony base. And we'll subtract 2 points. Now, this module here will allow a token it's connected to go again with their least initiative. Okay, so here he has initiative 2 and initiative 1. He's connected to this, so he could take another turn with initiative 1. Okay, he couldn't do it in initiative 2 because that's not its lowest initiative. Okay, so he'll do the same thing. We'll drop down 2 more. That'll be the end of the ones. And then finally we go into the 0 initiatives, which are the bases. There are certain tiles in the game that will subtract 1 initiative point from your opponents. Okay, there's one army that has this module. A base can never drop below 0. Okay, so 0 is the lowest that any initiative can go to. Alright, so again, like everything else, it's simultaneous. So this base here will hit this guy, and this guy. Okay, he has melee on all of his surrounding tiles. Okay, and this guy's base here will destroy this guy, hit him with 1 point. Alright, so now it's the end of the initiative 0. We clean up. This guy is destroyed. Modules are destroyed with 1 hit point, just like normal warriors. This guy has this toughness shield, so he is not killed yet. He has 1 more hit point of life, but this guy is destroyed. And that is the end of the battle. Okay, and then play would move on to the next player, being the yellow player in this case, and you would continue. Now, the second way for a battle to take place is if on a player's turn, they fill in the last hex on the main board. Okay, so it's red player's turn. He's going to discard this tile here, and he's going to choose to place this guy here, which will initiate a battle. Okay, and then it's just like before. You start with 3, work your way down. So that's how you play the game. It'll go back and forth, okay, until one player uses all their tiles. Okay, when a player reveals his last tile, from that point on, no player can use the battle tile to initiate a battle. The player will continue their turn, placing tiles on the board. Then the next player will get 1 more turn, and on if there's more than 2 players. And then there will be 1 final battle. This point will be carried out like any other battle. And then at the end of that, if one player's HQ is destroyed, they lose the game. Or if that doesn't occur, whoever has the least amount of damage to their HQ wins the game. If the game ends at a tie at this point, there is 1 more final battle that will take place. If players have tiles that they can use, they will use them. If not, it'll just be whatever effects are on the main board at the time. And then whoever has the least amount of damage done to their HQ, or if they destroyed the other player's HQ, they will win the game. If it's still a tie, then it's a draw. Now, finally in the game, we have these puzzle cards. There's 55 of them, and you only use them during a solo game. They're not really playing the game. They tell you how many tiles of each army to put out, okay, and how many tiles that you can use. So this guy here would be the hegemony. He would be able to draw these 5 tiles and use a certain number of these tiles, and he must solve the puzzle and do whatever the text says. Okay, they're only used in a solo game, but they're pretty good for teaching you the strategies of the game and also how to play the game. And that's how you play Neuroshima Hex.